KiLease didn't just have a meltdown. She blew the lid off one of hip-hop's most guarded secrets. The world knows her as the Milkshake singer and Nas as a legendary rapper, but their turbulent relationship hides a dark, untold story. Now, after years of silence, KiLease is speaking out, and what she's revealing is nothing short of explosive. From allegations of abuse to shocking claims about betrayal and manipulation, KiLease's revelations don't just shine a light on the cracks in their relationship, they expose the sinister underbelly of fame and power in the music industry. But here's what's even more chilling. The way these secrets have been buried for so long, protecting Nas's public image while KiLease was left to deal with the fallout. So, was KiLease's meltdown really a moment of weakness, or was it her breaking free from years of silence to finally tell the truth? In this video, we'll dissect her claims, reveal the hidden layers of their toxic past, and uncover why the industry has been so desperate to keep this story under wraps. This isn't just gossip, it's a deep dive into the painful realities of power, control, and survival in the spotlight. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll see why Kelis's story is sparking a conversation no one can afford to ignore. At first, Kelis and Nas seemed like hip-hop royalty. She was the edgy, genre-blending artist behind Milkshake, and he was a rap legend with critically acclaimed albums like Illmatic. Their relationship was celebrated as a perfect match, a powerhouse duo that represented the best of music and style. But behind the public glamour, the reality was far from perfect. KiLease was seen as outspoken and bold, a personality that the media often framed as dramatic. When their relationship ended in 2009, the narrative was already forming. KiLease, the fiery ex, was bitter and attention-seeking, while Nas remained the respected, untouchable icon. This misconception was fueled by a media landscape quick to dismiss women's voices. KiLease's allegations of abuse and control were brushed aside, and her story was overshadowed by headlines focusing on Nas's music or framing their split as a "he said, she said" feud. The industry's silence only cemented this narrative, allowing Nas' image to remain pristine while KiLease was labeled as unstable. But as KiLease would later reveal, this narrative couldn't have been further from the truth. KiLease's claims about her marriage to Nas completely shattered the public's perception of their relationship. In a 2018 interview, she revealed for the first time the extent of the abuse and toxicity she endured during their 5-year marriage. Kelis described instances of physical and emotional abuse, painting a harrowing picture of a relationship where power and control were weaponized against her. She alleged that Nas's behavior was erratic and manipulative, driven in part by his own struggles with alcohol. According to KiLease, their fights often turned physical, leaving her feeling trapped in an increasingly volatile environment. Her decision to leave wasn't made lightly. She claimed that the breaking point came when she became pregnant with their son, Knight. For KiLease, bringing a child into a toxic environment wasn't an option, so she walked away from the marriage. But leaving wasn't the end of her struggles. It was the beginning of a long battle to reclaim her voice. What makes Kelis's revelations even more unsettling is the industry's silence. While her allegations were detailed and specific, they barely caused a ripple in Nas's career. He continued to release music, perform, and receive accolades without facing significant backlash. Meanwhile, KiLease was painted as the bitter ex-wife, her credibility dismissed by a system that has historically protected powerful men. The real story isn't just about the abuse KiLease endured. It's about the stark double standard in how the industry and media handled their narratives. Nas' image remained largely intact, while KiLease was left to deal with the fallout, her pain dismissed, and her voice marginalized. But why did this story stay buried for so long? The answer lies in the music industry's reluctance to hold its icons accountable. Nas is a legend, a figure whose contributions to hip-hop are undeniable. Admitting that he had a dark side would tarnish not just his legacy, but the industry's celebration of him as a cultural icon. KiLease's story was inconvenient, so it was ignored. KiLease and Nas's story isn't just about one toxic relationship. It's a reflection of the broader dynamics of power, control, and silence in the music industry. What happened to Kelis is part of a much larger pattern. Women speaking out about abuse are often dismissed, vilified, or outright ignored, especially when the accused is a celebrated male figure. The power of Nas' reputation. Nas wasn't just any artist, he was and still is one of hip-hop's most respected figures. His lyrical genius, especially on albums like Illmatic and Stillmatic, cemented his place as one of rap's greatest storytellers. This legendary status acted as a shield, insulating him from public scrutiny when KiLease's allegations surfaced. Instead of focusing on the substance of her claims, the media and the public downplayed her story, framing it as an attack on his legacy. This isn't an isolated case. In the entertainment industry, powerful men are often protected by their reputations, with their alleged victims painted as troublemakers or attention seekers. KiLease's experience mirrors what so many women face when they speak out against influential figures: doubt, dismissal, and deflection. The meltdown narrative. The term meltdown has been weaponized against women for decades, especially in high-profile industries. KiLease's public statements were framed as a meltdown, an emotional outburst from a bitter ex. This framing conveniently ignores the pain and courage it takes to speak out about abuse, especially when doing so risks your career and reputation. By labeling her as unstable, the media shifted the focus away from her allegations and placed it on her demeanor. This tactic effectively silenced KiLease, reducing her revelations to tabloid fodder rather than the serious conversation they deserved to spark. The industry's complicity, the music industry's silence on KiLease's claims speaks volumes. For years, it has protected its most profitable stars, often at the expense of their alleged victims. This isn't just about Nas, it's about a system that consistently prioritizes fame and profit over accountability. By ignoring or minimizing stories like KiLease, the industry sends a clear message: power and reputation matter more than truth. KiLease's breaking point wasn't weakness, it was survival. Far from being a meltdown, KiLease's decision to speak out was an act of reclaiming her voice. For years, she endured the weight of a relationship that left her physically and emotionally scarred, all while the world continued to celebrate the man who caused her pain. Speaking out wasn't just cathartic, it was her way of breaking free from the narrative that had been forced upon her. Her story highlights the strength it takes to confront a system designed to silence and discredit women. It's not just about one woman speaking out, it's about challenging an entire culture of complicity and silence. The stark difference in how KiLease and Nas were treated by the media and music industry highlights a troubling pattern of bias and complicity. When KiLease came forward in 2018 with her allegations of abuse, the media largely framed the story as a feud or a personal grievance, rather than a serious revelation about the darker side of their relationship. Headlines sensationalized her statements, often focusing on her tone and demeanor rather than the substance of her claims. This approach painted KiLease as emotional and dramatic, while Nas's reputation as a hip-hop legend remained intact. The music industry's role in protecting Nas was even more glaring. As one of hip-hop's most respected figures, Nas's legacy had become a cornerstone of rap history. This status acted as a shield, insulating him from the scrutiny that often accompanies serious allegations. KiLease, by contrast, was treated as a bitter ex-wife trying to tarnish the legacy of a beloved artist. While her allegations were specific and detailed, they barely impacted Nas's career. He continued to release music, perform, and collect accolades, while KiLease faced skepticism and backlash. This disparity underscores the industry's long-standing double standard. Male artists accused of abuse or misconduct often face little professional consequence, particularly if they hold iconic status. In contrast, women who speak out, especially against powerful men, are frequently met with doubt, vilification, or outright dismissal. KiLease's story is a prime example of this imbalance. The industry's silence regarding her allegations sent a clear message. Nas's public image and contributions to music were more important than addressing the serious claims against him. What's particularly troubling is how KiLease's story was reframed to protect Nas. Publicists and industry gatekeepers likely worked behind the scenes to control the narrative, ensuring her allegations didn't overshadow his legacy. The media followed suit, focusing on Nas' response, or lack thereof, while sidelining KiLease's voice. This selective framing not only minimized her experience, but also reinforced a culture that values profit and reputation over accountability. Ultimately, the industry's failure to take KiLease's claims seriously highlights a systemic problem. Survivors are often left to fight their battles alone, while powerful men are shielded by their status. In KiLease's case, the result was a story buried under layers of bias and dismissal, a story that deserves far more attention than it was ever given. The aftermath of KiLease's revelations was both devastating and empowering. While the media and music industry largely dismissed her allegations, KiLease chose to take control of her own narrative, stepping away from the spotlight and forging a new path on her own terms. Her decision to leave the music industry reflected her desire to distance herself from an environment that had failed to protect and support her. After her divorce from Nas and the subsequent backlash from sharing her story, KiLease shifted her focus to other passions. She trained as a chef, launched her own line of sauces, and eventually purchased a farm where she focused on sustainability and family life. This move wasn't just a career pivot, it was a deliberate choice to reclaim her identity and build a life outside of the toxic dynamics of fame and the music industry. By stepping into entrepreneurship and agriculture, KiLease demonstrated her resilience and determination to create something meaningful on her own terms. Speaking out against Nas came at a cost. KiLease faced public backlash from fans who refused to believe her allegations, many of whom attacked her character and motives. Additionally, her music career never regained the momentum it had during her early 2000s peak. The industry's lack of support made it clear that there were professional risks in challenging a powerful figure like Nas. However, KiLease's decision to speak up wasn't about career gains. It was about survival and reclaiming her voice after years of silence. As the Me Too movement gained momentum in the years following KiLease's revelations, her story resurfaced and gained renewed attention. Her bravery in sharing her experience helped shift conversations in the hip-hop community, highlighting the need for accountability and greater awareness of power dynamics within the music industry. KiLease became a symbol of resilience for other survivors, proving that speaking out, even in the face of widespread dismissal, can inspire others to confront their own stories. While KiLease rebuilt her life, Nas continued to thrive professionally. Albums like King's Disease brought him accolades, including a Grammy in 2021. The lack of public or industry accountability for the allegations against him reflected the systemic issue of prioritizing profit and reputation over justice. Nas's public image remained largely untarnished, further underscoring the double standard that KiLease had to contend with. Despite the challenges, KiLease emerged stronger. Her decision to focus on her passions and family showcased her ability to move forward while staying true to herself. Today, she is no longer defined by her relationship with Nas or the allegations that followed. Instead, she is seen as a multifaceted woman, a chef, entrepreneur, mother, and survivor who refused to be silenced. Her journey serves as a powerful reminder that resilience and self-determination can overcome even the most entrenched systems of bias and dismissal. The story of KiLease and Nas isn't just a personal tragedy, it's a reflection of the systemic flaws within the music industry. KiLease's struggle to be heard and believed underscores how the entertainment world often prioritizes the reputations of powerful men over the well-being of survivors. Her experience, while deeply personal, shines a light on an industry-wide pattern of complicity, silence, and protection of those with the most influence. KiLease's legacy in music is undeniable. As an artist, she broke boundaries with her bold experimental sound and unapologetic persona. Songs like Milkshake and Caught Out There remain cultural staples, showcasing her ability to blend genres and create music that felt both fresh and iconic. However, her contributions to the industry have often been overshadowed by her personal life, a fate that many female artists face when their relationships with male counterparts dominate the public narrative. Despite this, KiLease's influence on music and pop culture cannot be erased. The industry's treatment of KiLease highlights a troubling reality. When allegations of abuse or misconduct arise, the default response is often to protect the accused if they hold significant cultural or commercial value. Nas's status as one of hip-hop's most revered figures meant that his reputation was deemed more important than addressing KiLease's claims. His career continued to flourish, with accolades like a Grammy win for King's Disease, while KiLease faced public skepticism and professional obstacles. This imbalance reveals a deep-seated bias that prioritizes the legacy of men over justice for women. KiLease's story also exposes how the media plays a role in shaping public perception. By framing her allegations as a meltdown or a feud, the media diluted the seriousness of her claims and shifted the focus away from the systemic issues her story revealed. This narrative not only undermined her credibility, but also contributed to a culture where survivors are silenced or dismissed. The media's complicity in protecting powerful figures perpetuates an environment where accountability is rare, and those who speak out are vilified. Despite the challenges, KiLease has shown remarkable resilience. By stepping away from the music industry and pursuing her passions in food and sustainability, she has built a life that reflects her strength and independence. Her decision to prioritize her mental health and family over the pressures of the industry is a testament to her courage and self-determination. KiLease has redefined her legacy, proving that she is more than the struggles she endured. She is a survivor, a trailblazer, and an inspiration to others. The music industry, however, remains largely unchanged. KiLease's story serves as a reminder of the urgent need for reform. To prevent similar injustices, the industry must do more to support survivors, hold powerful figures accountable, and create an environment where women can thrive without fear of retaliation or dismissal. Her journey is a call to action, urging the industry and its audiences to confront the uncomfortable truths about power, control, and the cost of silence. KiLease's voice, though dismissed for far too long, has sparked a conversation that cannot and should not be ignored. KiLease's story is more than just a personal account. It's a powerful indictment of the music industry's culture of silence and complicity. Her so-called meltdown wasn't a moment of weakness. It was her breaking free, her refusal to stay quiet about years of abuse and manipulation. It was a moment of strength, not shame, and it forced the world to confront the darker realities behind the glamour of fame. Even with all the challenges she faced, KiLease has somehow risen above the noise. She has redefined her identity, stepping away from an industry that failed her to build a life of purpose and passion. Her story reminds us that resilience is a form of power. It's a testament to the strength it takes to rebuild yourself after enduring not just personal struggles, but also a system designed to silence your voice. KiLease has shown that survival isn't just about enduring, it's about thriving on your own terms. Her journey also challenges us to question the systems that allowed this to happen. How many other voices have been silenced? How many powerful figures have been protected at the expense of their victims? KiLease's experience is a call to action, urging the music industry and its audiences to do better. It's a reminder that accountability is essential, and the truth, no matter how uncomfortable, must be heard. So the next time you hear Milkshake or reflect on Nas' celebrated career, remember the untold story behind the headlines. Remember KiLease's courage to speak out even when the world wasn't ready to listen. Her story is a lesson in resilience, a critique of systemic injustice, and most importantly, a reminder that even in the face of silence, the truth has the power to spark change. If this story resonates with you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more untold truths, and share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think KiLease's revelations will inspire lasting change in the music industry? Or is it still too resistant to hold powerful figures accountable? Let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay informed, stay critical, and stay tuned.